You sort of realize right away when you put your marker on something that's fleshy, that you kind of need to stabilize it. I found myself. That was probably the creepiest thing. And then my signature got totally distorted by the end. Started out goal 2.
Pretty much killed it.
What's the weirdest thing you've ever had thrown at you?
Oh my God! At a Dragon Con a few years ago. Was it a Dragon Con? No, it may not have been Dragon Con. It may have been somewhere else. It was somewhere I was playing with the Crew Shadows. I don't think it was Dragon Con because it had to have been a smaller, intimate show because it was like that much more shocking. But I was playing somewhere with the Crew Shadows, and I'm performing, and then all of a sudden, not one but 2 panties come flying onto the stage simultaneously. And like one of them lands on my guitar, and the other one, and I'm just like, oh my God, awesome!
One of the venues we play at in Tulsa is.
Well, let me cut in because there's a punchline. Sorry, Steve. So I'm like standing there, and I'm like in a halo of panties. I was like, oh my God, this is. I remember where it was. It was Club Laga in Pittsburgh. That's where I was, which no longer exists. But anyway, so I'm playing like panties are flying everywhere. I'm like, oh my God, this is totally awesome. I've like read about this. And I get off stage and I go to my booth, and the Crew Shadows booth was right next to it. And Jessica, who's Rogue's wife, goes, wow, pretty impressive. You got a lot of panties up there. And I was like, I know, it's unbelievable. And she and the dancer Sarah start cracking up. And I was like, what? They're like, they're ours. You took off your panties and threw them at me? Because I have them. And I was going to smell them. Like, no, we pulled them out of our luggage. I was like, oh, how disappointing.
So anyway, we play at this venue in Tulsa, which is the Tulsa Eagle, which is exactly what you would expect it to do. And so I'm up there playing the guitar, and the boys are all out there enjoying. Donna's singing on the dance floor, and they're dancing around her like Cher. And this guy comes up and puts a $20 bill on the ground in front of me, and I'm sitting there playing like, I have no idea what the protocol is. Should I take my pants off? It's always an education. That's also the place that has the one-way window that looks into the men's bathroom. Again, going back to the woman's room before the show.
They had it on the marquee that night. It said, Ego Likeness with Steve Archer, J.O. Because nobody hangs out in the red light district anywhere. J.O. stands for something. It's something that a male dancer might do on stage.
Please educate us.
Tip them enough, but we'll leave it at that. Use your imagination. What's the weirdest thing anyone's ever said to me? Oh God, that's never a good thing. Really.
That happened just the other day here.
What was
It's
it?
not really. Well, I don't know if this would be the weirdest thing or one of the most
We're
insulting
paying you?
things. After the 13-hour drive here from Baltimore on Thursday, I had not slept or eaten or showered or anything, fixed my makeup, and we just loaded everything in, and a gentleman walks up to me and picks up one of our flyers and looks at it and looks at me and says, "You look better in the picture."
Did you hit him?
But you know what the worst part of that is that I can,
Is that it's true.
You know what it is? The thing is that, somebody says something, you can find a comeback pretty easily. Something like that, I was just like...
I had once had somebody run up to me. Wow. It was here, actually. It was at Dragon Con about 2 years ago. And these little girls kind of came running up. They were like, I don't know, anywhere between 16 and 18. And they came running, and they're like, oh my God, hi, blah, 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 woo, 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 woo. And I'm like, hey, all right. All right. Whoa, And this went on for a couple of minutes. And then one of the girls looks at me and she goes, "You look so much older than I expected." And I looked at her and I said, "And you're so much fatter than I expected." And she got really pissed off. And he's like, "How could you say that to me?" I was like, "What do you mean? You just said I look really old. And you're just making a factual observation. And I just pointed out that you're rather fat. It's a factual observation. Like, I don't understand." And she could not wrap her brain around why that was okay. And she got really pissed off, and for the entire rest of the convention, she walked past my booth and scowled at me. But like people who will walk up to you and say stuff like that, they don't even know that they're saying something stupid. They just don't even know. I'm going to ask you a question. What are the repeated things that people say to you on tour that
Actually, I've got two real quick. One was from yesterday. Somebody came up to me and asked me if I was you. That was very interesting because, although oddly enough, when we were about 20, we looked really, really, really similar. Like we both had the long hair with the stripes and the goatee and kind of floofy and gay.
It means when he was 20 and when I was 20. We both had the same look.
And the other one was also in Tulsa. We were playing at this other venue, and so I was wearing my Tulsa Eagle shirt to represent. And so at the end of the show, once again, not one of my finer moments, somebody comes up to me and he's like, "So what's up with the Tulsa Eagle shirt there?" And I'm like, we like it. We like playing there. They're our friends." And he's like, "Well, I'm from Texas, and that kind of makes you less than a man." Less than a man. And I'm like, I was just so floored. Like, my only comment was just like, "Fuck you." And his girlfriend standing there next to him with like this big pile of Ego merchandise, and I'm like, with this horrified look on her face. And I was like, "Oh God, you'll tell this to Donna, and she's gonna be mad at me."
I have a great tour story along those lines. Tempe, Arizona. Okay, I want to point out first of all that I live on MySpace. And I read every single last letter, email, message, comment that is sent to me. Nobody runs that page but me. So I read every single last thing I get, and I reply to 99% of everything that really sort of merits a reply of some sort, an actual question of some sort. And I post frequently. So I make myself ludicrously available to the people who are interested in what I do, because it is exactly those people who allow me to continue doing it. So I feel that I should do my very best to make myself available to people who have a question or want to comment in some way. However, I seem to have this reputation that to be an arrogant, self-absorbed ass. And I've read that in a lot of different places. And I'm starting to come to the conclusion that most of the people who bandy that about have never actually met me. So somehow, and I get how like my persona, like if you listen to the songs, you might think like, wow, he must be really arrogant, but it is a persona. It's a song, folks, right? So, but nonetheless, I kind of have this theory that the other people who actually did meet me, who still thought I was some complete total dork, jerk off, were probably people who were really rude to me, because I'm a human being. And if you're rude to me, I'm probably going to be a little bit offended, and I may express that to you, okay? So somehow, the second that you're in like a public light in any tiny little way does not suddenly make you inhuman, So, I get